obviously you have different levels of service, Jodie, but what can you describe what costs a client might expect to pay for your different types of services?
Yeah, absolutely. So initial call is always free because I need to establish whether I'm going to be able to help you or not. So we don't charge just for an initial call. And then the basic package, which is £825, that is a full care search. So whether you're in your own home or you're looking for a care home or it's end of life care, that is the most popular starter package. And I do a review of all the care that is available in the area, and then I narrow it down, and then I do a deep dive onto 4 of the most appropriate care providers. So some of them get knocked out at the first hurdle, depending on my finding.
Cut the phone or not?
Yeah, exactly. Or the CQC report might be a tricky one, but I do have some sympathy with care providers in this respect because CQC has been under a lot of pressure since COVID, and care providers are reliant on them to come out and reassess. So you might have a service that hasn't been inspected for 3 years. So you can't just rely on that alone as a marker of quality. There's other things you need to
Changed. A lot could have changed in that time.
exactly.
One of the things that we noticed that clients are coming to us trying to figure out what type of care they need for their mum or dad and whether to go ahead or not, when to go ahead, and all these other questions. One thing that families struggle with is when there's maybe 3 or 4 siblings and everyone wants to have a say and make the decision, get involved, rather than allowing one person to guide it or whatever. But so certainly sometimes individuals find it pretty difficult when there's a team of people trying to make a choice. But what do you notice about the challenges of making that decision about what sort of care mum and dad are going to need?
Yeah, that can be tricky. And that's where getting an independent person like myself can be really useful because I'm not coming in with any agenda apart from what's best for the person that needs the care. That is my sole focus, and I don't get any incentives. There's no financial kickbacks for me from any care providers. I'm completely impartial and for the person that needs the care. So having me come in to a family situation, whether that's on Zoom I can do or come in person, can actually be quite a useful tool. For the last 12 years, I've been a palliative care nurse. Those tend to be quite high emotion situations when you're going into family homes where somebody's dying. Sometimes there's tricky family dynamics, resentments can come to the fore. You develop a skill set of communicating with people that averts crisis and smooths things over. So I think all of those skills naturally come into play in this role. The diplomacy skills, if you like.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's a tricky situation. But what other sort of difficulties might those seeking care for themselves or a loved one tend to have? Obviously, in terms of financial planning, is there any sort of advice that you can link them up with? Or
Yeah, obviously that's not my area of expertise, but I do have professional contacts that I can refer people to in terms of releasing equity from the house if they need to do that. Financial advisors have got a network. Also, people like declutterers. And that might sound odd, but if you get the movers in, for example, if you're moving out of your home to somewhere else, a care home, and you just get a standard movers in, they may not have the empathy and the skills to help you do that in a way that makes you feel supported. So I've got a network of people who have a more empathetic approach, let's say, to something like that, which can be quite a big thing. So people have lived in their home for donkey's years, 50 plus years in some cases. You don't want somebody coming in and throwing your belongings around. This can be a real emotional time. I also can do hourly based research on things like chiropodists, the things that come up when you're doing care for people, you're organising care, that they say, oh, can you sort that out for us? Recently, I've researched private GPs for a client because they were getting a really poor service from their GP surgery. And this client didn't have issues with finance. They could fund it quite easily. They just hadn't thought of that. So it's coming in with a holistic view of what this client needs to get the most out of the life that they've got left. And sometimes that involves thinking outside of the box.
What clients have you worked with where you've stood back and looked what you've helped them with that sticks in your mind, that you're really proud of, or that's really made a massive difference to their quality of life?
Yes. So I think the one that sticks in my mind recently was a family in Cardiff whose mother had cancer. She was coming towards the end of her life. And like many people in that situation, this lady just suddenly went off her legs in the space of 24 hours. And they just didn't know what to do at all. Luckily, I was already in contact with them. They'd had a quick chat the week before, and they knew that at some point she was going to need care. But then everything happened quite quickly. And within a day, I had got a stair lift. I'd arranged a care package. I told them what to do in terms of the GP and what to say and to get them to come out that day. I'd been in contact with the local hospice. So I basically just did all of that for them within the space of about 12 hours. And they were so grateful. The review was absolutely amazing, brought tears to my eyes, really. But it's when you're doing things like that and you realize that being your own business and having that agility and not having bureaucracy and having to wait for X, Y, and Z to get back to you, you're able to act on your own and do it quickly. And because I'm a nurse, I'm able to jump some hurdles that perhaps other people aren't, because people take my opinion seriously when I ring them up, especially when you're dealing with other healthcare professionals. Being able to make that difference and remove some of that huge stress from families is really satisfying. And that's what makes me realize I'm doing the right thing here. And I think roles like mine are going to become more prevalent, because 20 years ago, you probably wouldn't have needed me. The statutory services were better funded. District nurses and your GP and social services probably would have done all this. And that's no criticism. We know that they're understaffed and they're doing the best they can. I'm not criticising the statutory services. It's just the reality of the situation. And that's why roles like mine are becoming more and more important.
No, absolutely. We probably noticed that as well.
I'm just really trying to support those people, the sandwich carers, as they call them, people of my age and around my age who have got this issue with the parents getting older. These people need to be in the workforce. We need them in our workforce for our economy. They need to be well. And adding on these responsibilities to people that are already at full capacity and spinning all the plate can have really negative consequences for their mental health. And those are the people that I really enjoy supporting.
Thank you, Jodie.
Thanks, Luca. It's been great talking to you.
Great to talk to you.